Peter David, writer of comic books, novels, and script for movies and television. Also the producer of
Space Cases
for Nickelodeon. You've been writing comic books for many years. You have frequently identified as top talent in the comic book industry.
Ah, shucks.
How did you come to that?
How did I come to be a top talent in the industry? Primarily through support of the fans. The fans have been very nice. They've been very encouraging. And in turn, what I've just tried to do is the only thing that a writer can do, which is tell good stories. Stories that the fans find involving, stories about characters who change, who aren't the same at the end of the story as they are in the beginning, and who have what's called a hero's journey, who become involved in things, and they learn things about the world, about themselves, about how the two of them interact with each other, and at the end of the story are different and hopefully better people than they were at the beginning of the story. That's always been my goal in everything that I do.
I understand you have done writing for TV and movies.
Yes, I have.
How is that different from comic books?
Well, they're the same in that you're talking about something that's visual. You know, comic books, TVs, and movies all require that when you're doing the story, you keep an eye towards how things will look. Whereas in, say, novels, right, it's not the same. You could do, in a novel, you can have people sitting around in a room and talking for page after page after page after page, and it's no problem. But you want to have a constant feeling of movement in some way, shape, or form when you're doing TVs and whether you're doing TV or comic or that kind of thing. Comic books and television both are fairly rigid in the way stories are told, primarily because of time constraints. When I was writing Space Cases, which by the way I was the co-creator of, not exactly the producer, it's a different thing. When I was writing Space Cases, each script had to be 22 pages. Couldn't be a page more, couldn't be a page less. And each episode had to play out at exactly 22 minutes, 30 seconds. You know? So you had to be absolutely right on the money when you, in terms of length. Comic books, you have a little bit more breathing space, because if you get to the end of 22 pages and you haven't done your story, your story's not finished, you can continue it into the next issue. Limited series, though, you know, you have to be a little bit more careful in terms of your pacing. Movies you have, here, come on over. Movies you have the most latitude, because a movie can be 85 minutes, 70 minutes, 90 minutes, 110 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours if you're Kevin Costner. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of ways and means that you can produce, that you can tell your story in a movie, because you've got that length. So that's the big thing.
What is your favorite TV or movie writing job?
My favorite TV and movie involvement probably would be my work on Space Cases. I co-created the TV series with Bill Mumy, who was starred when he was about your age in Lost in Space as Will Robinson. And now he's all grown up and he's my writing partner for that. And it was a very exciting time in my life, because we created the series, the characters, the premise, everything from the ground up. And then I went up to Canada and I helped produce it, and it was very exciting. It was exhausting. I was working 20-hour days, doing nothing but writing for 20 hours at a shot. But watching the TV series grow and develop, and working with the actors, working with all the directors, all those folks, everyone coming to me and saying, we need this done, we need that done. It was probably the most exciting and fulfilling writing challenge I ever had.
What comic book characters do you most enjoy writing?
What comic book characters do I most enjoy writing? Well, I have a special fondness for the Hulk because I wrote the Hulk for 12 years. When you're writing one character for 12 years, you really can't help but become attached to him. Right now, I'm writing a character called the Fallen Angel, which is a series that comes out. It's actually aimed at folks a bit older than you. You really want to be 14, 15 years old to be reading Fallen Angel, but that's a particularly fun character.
I understand you're a fan of Disney animation. What attracts you?
What attracts me to Disney animation? Because I was watching Disney movies when I was younger than you. And it was just always exciting. I mean, Disney was the first and greatest when it comes to feature-length animated feature-length animated films. I mean, they will always have that luster. I mean, they're going to have their misfires. They're going to have the films that just don't work, but nobody hits it out of the park every time. But when they do, it's just fantastic. And the quality of the animation, the smoothness, the voice acting. I mean, it's just like, nothing you ever saw. I mean, you got to understand, when Walt Disney wanted to do Snow White, the movie studios of the time told him he was completely nuts. They said no one will sit in a movie theater and watch a cartoon for 80 minutes. Snow White was called Walt's Folly, which, interestingly enough, is also what they call Disneyland. And it's, they are the groundbreakers, and they still are, I think, to a very large extent.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. That's